Gun Sports Radio is sponsored by Love Radio Network.
It's time to get educated on your Second Amendment right. It's time to get locked and loaded with Gun Sports Radio. Your hosts, Dave Stahl and Lance Pelkey, will teach you everything there is to know about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your American right to own and bear arms. Now, here's your host, Dave Stahl and Lance Pelkey.
All right, folks, welcome to Gun Sports Radio. FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer. I'm only saying that because our answer bear is not here.
Yeah.
He's up Nootsky-ing it in Wisconsin.
Michael Schwartz is hit the bricks.
Him and his lovely wife looking at the Wisconsin territory. I don't know why they keep going back there, but they must have fun.
Diskies.
It's great. Hey, this segment's brought to you by the Gun Range San Diego, 7853 Balboa Avenue in San Diego. 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Go to thegunrangesandiego.com, thegunrangesandiego.com for all of your needs. It's a Nordstrom range without the Nordstrom price. Anything and everything can be had there. Training, guns, ammo, great ranges, clean, spotless, great people. Whether you're a first-time shooter or an old-time shooter, makes no difference to the Gun Range San Diego. They will totally treat you equally. Go as a group. Take your family, take your business partners, use it as a morale booster. It's all good at the Gun Range San Diego. Well, our very special guest in the house, Mr. San Diego County gun owner, blogger extraordinaire, Joe Drammissi. How you doing, bud?
Doing great, thank you. And I am very special. It's a good thing to point out.
What's the shirt with the pig?
That's the shirt. Actually, my daughter brought this back from a barbecue place, I think in Memphis. That's the peg leg porker. You notice the pig has a peg leg on the back.
Oh, yes,
now
he
that you draw
does.
attention to it, we do.
Was it tasty?
She said it was, yeah.
Oh, you didn't get to eat? She didn't bring you any food.
I got the T-shirt. No.
She brought you the shirt.
Well, besides eating pulled pork, we wanted to have Joe back on the show because he just does an amazing job.
Absolutely.
If the listeners out there haven't gone to the San Diego County Gun Owners website, you really should. And Joe puts out a weekly blog, well written, not too many words, not too verbose, but to the point. And we just love him. And we're so happy that you came down to the show on a Sunday afternoon to hang out with us and your listeners. And we appreciate you coming.
Oh, what else would I be doing on a Sunday afternoon? I mean, this doesn't get any better than this.
It's true. We were just talking about that before the show started about, you gotta have that real, spirit for, wanting to do this and lead the charge. And so many of our friends have left California. I was with San Diego County Gun Owners, a meeting they had at a gun shop at Mission Gorge. And the group of them was, some remark came up and they said, yeah. And, for our friends that have left, so many people have left California. But for those of us, we're sticking back. And Dave and I used to say, broadcasting from deep behind enemy lines. We feel like it still is. And that's what we're doing here. So, what was our topic this week on your blog?
What I was writing about this week, lawyers, guns, and money, basically. Just looking at the situation with now that, it's unfortunate that we're forced to fight this way for something that's really a right of all Americans. It's guaranteed to us, and yet we still have to fight about it. And, so it becomes that kind of thing where it's in the courts. It's, things have to get litigated. It takes money to do all that stuff. So It's just a constant fight like that. But one of the things I mentioned in the article, and what I want to go into further, I think, in probably next week or the week after, is the language that comes up, because the words that we use are important.
Ooh, yeah.
And, we've kind of lost the momentum over the decades, I guess. The left and the anti-gun people have kind of driven the narrative there with language, making up phony terms about AR rifles and things like that. And, I was just looking at the, there was one just last week where they always talk about the gun violence epidemic. And, it really, there is no gun violence epidemic in this country. If you look at, yes, we have shootings and things like that, and it's terrible when it happens. But realistically, about 3/1000ths of 1% of our population are killed by murderers using firearms each year.
Yep.
And, to put that in perspective, if you look at like Elizabeth Warren has about 8 times that percentage of American Indian blood in her system.
I was thinking you could say that.
You know, and
That's awesome.
But I mean, that's, you know, yes, it's tragic, but, you know, innocent people die every day in this country. And it's, you know, it's awful when it happens. But to say we have a gun violence epidemic is just not right. And using those kinds of words, those words elicit emotions in people. And when people are emotional, you know, they don't think as clearly and they're a lot easier to manipulate. And that's kind of the strategy that gets used. And we should really be attacking that kind of stuff when they use those kinds of words like assault rifles and things like that are just bogus terms, or gun violence epidemic. You know, people need to stand up and call these people out on this kind of stuff, especially when leaders like politicians and things like that. I just saw, you know, Elizabeth Warren just used that term again the other day. We have to handle this gun violence epidemic just like it is, an epidemic. And it's not an epidemic. You know, yes, it's an issue. But I mean, you know, there are other issues as well. I mean, and I'm not trying to minimize or belittle, you know, people that run into that kind of stuff or have that kind of experience.
Sure.
But I'm just saying let's keep it in proportion and let's deal with it. You know, let's attack the problem really. And it is not a gun problem. It's a mental health problem. It's a problem with how we're dealing with religion in this country, what's happening with the family unit in this country. There's a whole bunch of problems. But guns are not one of them. But anyway, that's one of the things I was writing about. You know, if you look at talking about the words and things, I don't know if you guys caught Tucker Carlson this week was talking about in San Francisco where they're changing the language now. So like, we don't have felons in San Francisco anymore. We have I think it's legal system involved individuals.
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
is.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
So that you can make the jump. If I don't have felons, I don't have crime, I guess, because I don't have criminals.
Well, that's their way of fixing the problem. Instead of fixing the problem,
Tucker Carlson,
they think we're so stupid that by just changing the name of the problem, we're all going to say, oh, well, in that case.
Well, and too often, though, gun people try and come up with a logical answer to this emotional stuff that's going out there. So people, and you can't, but they do anyway, and that's the problem. So,
and I've been guilty of that.
You hit the nail on the head.
You know, I mean, being an engineer by trade, that's my reaction all the time is to look at the logic of it.
Right.
And, you know, you can't, when you're dealing with emotion like that, people make decisions on emotion.
Yeah.
And, you know, we need to kind of address it that way. But when people make up these terms, we need to call them out on those terms, especially when it's our leaders that are doing it, when it's politicians and people like that.
Do they not care that they're showing ignorance when they do that?
And again, to me, I think there are some of them that truly don't know. I mean, there are some truly dumb people out there in those positions, but I think a lot of them know. A lot of them don't care because, and again, this is just my feeling on it, that they have something they're trying to accomplish.
They have an agenda.
And it has nothing to do with public safety. It has nothing to do with crime. And they understand these things. When you see Gavin Newsom propose these laws, I mean, Gavin Newsom's not a stupid man. He knows these things, and he knows these laws have nothing to do with crime or public safety. It has to do with
I might argue
power.
with you on that one. I'm afraid. I'm sorry.
So, speaking of which, that I just lost it. I had it. When John Dillon filed that lawsuit, when he used, I like these famous words. So, the term assault weapons is a politically concocted pejorative term designed to suggest that there is an inherently unlawful or illegitimate basis for owning otherwise common firearms protected by the Second Amendment. Awesome words.
Yeah, it is. And
because we always talk about the evil features and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and people should, gun owners should be offended. But I mean, I'm personally offended every time we have one of these shootings.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they're going to go on because we're not addressing the real causes or the issue. And I think the causes are complex, and there's a lot of them. And even if they did decide to address it finally, it would still be a challenge to actually do something with it. But every time we have one of these things, me as a gun owner, I am blamed. It's like I'm an evil person, or it's somehow my fault because some murderer decided to kill some people with a firearm.
Right, exactly.
And gun owners should be fed up with that, with being blamed and being called out as evil people or bad people. And they need to start standing up and pushing back on this
Well,
stuff.
they need to get mad. They need to get angry. And like we talked about here in San Diego, what they could do is do what? Join San Diego County gun owners.
Exactly. Yeah. And get involved. And that's, when I write these articles, I kind of close with I have the same paragraph every week that
But
I
it's
close
good.
with. But
It's true.
I encourage people, join, do something other than make comments on Facebook. There's a lot of different organizations. I'd love to see everybody join San Diego County Gun Owners.
Yep.
We do different things. I mean, we have our function here in San Diego, so we're concerned with electing Second Amendment friendly people throughout the county. But there's other groups that do the lawsuits. There's other groups that work at the state level. You've got a lot of choices. So find some groups that you like, that you agree with. It doesn't cost much to support us. San Diego County Gun Owners for $10 a month. You can support us.
Local organization.
If you have time, we could definitely use your help with your time, but your membership helps us. And it's the same with these other organizations, the NRA and all the other ones. They're relatively cheap to join. If you don't have a lot of money or you don't have a lot of time, join them as a member and, stand up, because if we lose these rights, once they're gone, they're gone. It's really hard to get them back.
You won't get them back.
And that's what I'm saying. It's, let's be proactive and do something about it now. You see what's happening here in California, and what happens out here. Lance was talking about this a little bit earlier with people leaving the state. Michael was telling me 20 years ago, Oregon and Washington were the big gun-friendly states to go to. That's where people were going. Yeah, and look what happened up there. I mean, these bad ideas spread from here like a cancer. I mean, you have to fight them at some point. So,
and here we
might as
are.
well fight them here.
Yep, get mad and join San Diego County Gun Owners.
Yes, it's very simple. $10. You can't buy lunch for $10.
San Diego County Gun Owners.com. Michael's not here. He'd love it. He loves that we're plugging him, but we need the members, and we need you. We're trying to hit that 3,000 member mark as soon as we can, and that turns into a voting block. Your vote matters. Again, they put out the voter guide. And so we could win these races.
Well, and people don't realize it's really doable to influence these races locally. And, it's a lot harder trying to influence a statewide race or a national race. But a lot of these city council races, these supervisor races, they're won or lost on a couple of thousand votes. And, you have a chance as a grassroots organization. And we've accomplished a lot just, at our size. I mean, look what we've done with the concealed carry.
Right.
That was huge.
Everyone said, no, you can't do that. And look what happened.
Yeah, it's never been done.
And
here.
by the way,
And
I
we were
heard
able to do that.
Scott Sherman won his district when he won by like 54 votes or something like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this can be done. And again, to your point, yes, they said we couldn't get concealed carry, for good law-abiding people like us, and we did. And so we are moving, we are shaking, and we are getting stuff done.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more right here on Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170, The Answer. All right, folks, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170, The Answer. This segment is brought to you by the way, as you know, lawful AR ownership is increasingly under attack. California's assault weapon laws, including define an assault weapon as having to be semi-automatic. The Cali Key removes your rifle from the definition of an assault weapon by converting any mil-spec direct impregnation or impingement.
Impingement. That's
impingement.
A hard one. Hate that word.
What did you put that word in there for?
For old
A
time
direct impingement AR platform rifle into a straight pull bolt action. You son of a gun.
I got him.
It's a true drop-in solution. In less than a couple of minutes, you are good to go. No milling, no aesthetics modification, and no turning off your gas system is necessary. Stay future ready with your Cali Key. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford. With Cali Key, that's Kalikey, Kalikey.com.
I got to tell you, Cali Key is just a huge, tremendous supporter of what's going on here in California and San Diego.
Yeah.
And they've just been amazing. So if you got to go to the website and check these guys out.
Without a shadow of
They've got really cool stuff too. I mean, thank you, Cali Key.
Yeah. Hey, what's the best defense for self-defense in those horrible new red flag laws? Well, Firearms Legal Protection, Lance and I both use them, is the answer. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for your firearm owners. Firearms Legal Protection is the best legal protection for self-defense, and if you are singled out government lawyers trying to take your guns using red flag laws, you're going to need Firearms Legal Protection. And you might even get John Dillon from Gatsky, Dillon & Balance, LLP, your one-stop shop for lawyers, and Firearms Legal hires him, and you could be lucky enough to get him. If not, though, if you do need some side help, cafirearmslaw.com, cafirearmslaw.com, or call John at 760-431-9501, your gun lawyer. So, hey, who you got on the line there, sir?
Well, we've got our buddy Lance Reeter, the Frontside event's coming up. And so, Lance, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm right here. Thanks for having me on the show today, guys.
Yeehaw, my friend. Long time no talk. Good. I'm so glad you called in. So what's happening?
Well, we're gearing up for our next charity handgun and rifle course. This will be our 7th annual, and all the proceeds go to fight leukemia. And this last one that we wrapped up about 6 months ago, we raised over $36,000 for leukemia. We had over 245 people come out and participate in this family-oriented firearms training event. So it's not a bunch of guys doing guy things, but it's actually a family event. So we have husbands and wives with their kids. We have grandparents, nieces, nephews, aunts, and uncles all coming out to learn proficiency and excellence with handguns and or rifles. People get a choice on which weapon system that they train on, and have a wonderful time for a wonderful cause.
That's great. What are the dates?
So this next one coming up, our 7th annual, will be March 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So the full event is 4 days for people that want to participate in the full 4 days, and most people do. But for people that are trying this out for the first time and want to dip their toes in the water, they can come out for just 2 days or just 3 days. So it would be 6th and 7th, or 6th, 7th, 8th, or 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th of March. And 2020.
I gotcha. What's the website and what's the cost?
The website is www.charitycourse.gives. So it's not .com, it's .gives. So www.charitycourse.gives. And once on the website, people have an opportunity to sign up for our free email updates, so that when the registration is opened up, there'll be an email blast saying, okay, registration is open. Information about local hotels, purchasing ammo, all the logistics and necessities will come out in email updates. But that's the website to get information, sign up for updates. And we also have a lot of photographs and highlight videos from previous year's events, so people can actually see the event. I believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I can sit here and describe it to you, but actually seeing the scope of this event and the amazing facility, and also, just so your listeners know, the event is held at Frontside Firearms Training Institute, just outside of Las Vegas. It's the largest civilian firearms training school in the country. They're actually it's a 550-acre firearms training resort. They can handle up to 2,000 students a day. Their lecture hall alone is a 600-seat lecture hall. It's just an amazing facility.
Yeah, it truly is, and your website does a really good job. Charity Course Gives?
.gives. Yeah.
.gives, that's right.
Charitycourse.gives.
Got it.
Absolutely.
And Joe wanted to chime in for a second.
Yeah, hey, Lance, it's a question. When do you expect the registration to open up about, roughly?
Usually we open up registration in October.
Okay, that's good. So, I got a couple of neighbors now that are all psyched up and coming out there. They've actually made reservations at the winery, so they're ready to go.
Ah, look at that.
So I keep telling them, okay, well, as soon as the stuff starts coming out, I will send you the link. So I had them looking at the old stuff up to now.
That's great. Yeah, then Joe's been there several times, so have I, so it's a great event.
Yeah, you guys know firsthand how amazing this event is. So,
Yep.
But yeah, if you got friends, send them to the website, have them sign up for the updates, and that way, when the day that the registration opens, boom, they'll get an email blast. They can get registered for the event, and you guys were asking about the price. So, the normal retail cost for a 4-day course out there is $2,000, and that's pretty much the industry standard, whether you're going to this school or Gunsight or Thunder Ranch or various firearm schools. But for the charity event, we get everybody in for just $200.
You can't beat it.
No, you can't. $2,000 course for $200, and all the proceeds go to fight leukemia. And everybody pitches in $50. For fighting leukemia, so a total cost of $250, and we do an amazing raffle at the event. We raffle off 15 brand new firearms, everything from beautiful precision rifles, tactical shotguns, an amazing array of handguns. Thousands of rounds of ammunition is raffled off, and again, every penny from that raffle goes to fight leukemia.
All right, brother. We appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man. And we'll talk to you down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on the air.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. John Dillon was caught up doing a case or something, couldn't call in today, but he mentioned that, and it's a really good idea that, talking about fighting cases here in California, right, before they get to the federal level.
Yeah. And we touched on this a little bit earlier. We were talking about how Oregon and Washington used to be good places, and now they're having all sorts of problems because, again, this stuff spreads. These bad ideas spread, and unfortunately, in California, I mean, we seem to grow these bad ideas the way Jersey grows tomatoes.
Well, they also the other side puts a lot of money into California too on purpose.
Yeah, and like John, to John's point, John mentioned this earlier that. These things start out here and they're used as models in other states. They're used at the federal level,
right? And
it seems like there's 3 really bad states that generate a lot of this stuff because some of the things that we have here started out like in New York. New Jersey's also really bad about that kind of stuff, and the thing with our ammo laws, I believe started out. They tried this in New York actually, and they still do this because I used to buy a lot of my ammo online, and I was talking to the guys at Bulk Ammo back on the East Coast, and when California's first started implementing all these rules out here for the ammo, and they were telling me that they went through this with New York, and apparently New York tried the same kind of thing, and they had to abandon the database part of it because it was just too expensive. They just couldn't do it. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out here in California.
Yeah.
But no, you have to fight these things because these things do spread and they go to other states and it just doesn't take
and they become federal law. The feds use them as well.
Well, yeah, and again, we grow these bad politicians here. I mean, now you've got Dianne Feinstein, you've got Nancy Pelosi, you've got a host of minor ones out there. I mean, we're going to be fighting Kamala Harris. Hopefully, she's taken a dive now, so hopefully we won't see much of her. But, I mean, these are very destructive people with these laws, and they come from out here, so you got to fight them here when it starts before this stuff spreads.
Exactly. And speaking of that, we got to talk about, we only have a couple minutes left here, but talking about the red flag laws here in San Diego, Mara Elliott, the city attorney, came up with one about a year ago, whatever the case may be. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to be aware of this because you could be a good person that has, someone mad at you. And next thing you know, someone, a law enforcement's knocking on your door. Also, too, how are you going to pay for it? I was talking with the people at our sponsor folks, Firearms Legal. Sorry. And Scott was telling me the other day they just added that protection because they're a prepaid legal protection that they will cover for that.
That's good.
This is a really big deal. Hopefully you get John Dillon, of course, but if not, they do cover for that. So the red flag laws are.
Does that mean you got to change the script again?
I'm whatever I could do to keep you on your toes.
Small words though. Use small words on.
Yeah. Don't be using that. Something around.
Impingement or something like that. But anyway, the laws here that they're putting in California that are then spreading not only across the states, but they're also going to the federal level. So we've got to fight it here and make our stand.
We do, and you have to get involved in the like I said, the insurance part that you just brought up is really important. And we do these workshops about how to get your concealed carry every month, well, pretty much every week. I think we're doing one somewhere.
San Diego County Gun Owners does.
And I always emphasize to people, you really need to consider insurance. And whether you're going to carry concealed, or even if you're just a gun owner, I mean, if you have to do something, even in your house,
right?
Your homeowner's not going to help you.
No, it doesn't.
We're only talking $10 a month. Hello,
or maybe a little more, but neither way, prepaid legal plans as well. But it's a big deal. Yeah, you really should if you have any kind of firearm.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, a whole lot more right here on Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170. The Answer. All right, folks. Hey, as you know, lawful AR ownership is increasingly under attack. California's assault weapon laws, including defines an assault. Is that where that word is?
Including defining an assault weapon.
Defining an assault weapon as having to be semi-automatic. The Cali Key removes your rifle from the definition of an assault weapon by converting any mil-spec direct impingement AR platform rifle into a straight pull bolt action rifle. It's a true drop-in solution. It's less than a couple of minutes and you are good to go. No milling, no aesthetics modification, and no turning off your gas system if necessary. Stay future ready with Cali Key. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford with Cali Key. Check out Cali Key at calikey.com. That's KALIKEY.com. This segment is brought to you by the Gun Range San Diego, 7853 Balboa Avenue in San Diego, 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Go to thegunrangesandiego.com for all your gun needs, from ownership to working on your guns to classes, training. And don't forget, they've got ranges with great range masters that'll keep you and your crew happy and safe. Right now, we got Jason on the line. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Dave? Doing good.
Been a while since we chatted with you.
Yeah, it's been a while. Sounds like you've been doing good.
Yeah, you took a little sabbatical. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us today, sir?
I can tell you guys about NBC came by yesterday, by a little shop, Gun Range San Diego, and they wanted to ask us a few questions about, assault weapons and the Brady campaign and what we thought about everything, how we can make things better, things like that. So, they set up a camera, they, did a little interview with them, and
you didn't handcuff them and take them in the back room? Oh, come on.
No. Well, ultimately, they didn't use any of the footage, which is surprising. Yeah, which is surprising.
It actually
because,
isn't.
No, it's not surprising.
No, the reason why is because what they do is I found that they come into the shops, they take pictures of the guns, and then they use them for the anti-gun story that they're going to do.
And never use the story that they have.
No, it's BS.
Yeah. Was that local NBC?
It was local NBC, but luckily, we always ask, that they be respectful of our responses and our shop. And this time they didn't. It was nice that they didn't
slam you.
They didn't use any of the footage. They didn't slam us. They didn't even use any footage, which that's fine. But
what about verbiage?
It was odd. All they said was that they visited a gun range, and that's about it. But I thought it odd because I gave such great answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they were the wrong answers.
Well, it's like what Joe was saying earlier about, all they want is this, fueled up emotional
it doesn't meet
deal.
the narrative.
It didn't fit into what they wanted to show on TV. So, that's fine, but I'm happy to do it again.
But that's not reporting. That's the problem. That's not reporting.
That's not exciting. That doesn't get you stories. They asked, one of the things they pointed out was that there was the Brady campaign, I guess, has a new couple messages, and they were the bullet points were so generic that I was able to retort just immediately. And I mean, one of the bullet points was, oh well, the campaign aims to improve gun safety and reduce gun violence. And this is what she asks me on camera, and I'm like, well, we already do this. We already do this. They're not defining anything. What do they mean? How do they mean to expand a background check? They're not saying anything. They're saying words, but they're not telling a message.
Well, they're telling all the Brady people are telling all these people in San Diego and California all this. When the reality is, we already have the laws, which we already have the background checks and all this other stuff. I talk to people all the time that they have no clue that we have all this stuff, and they say, and they're supporting Brady. So why would you support them?
I did say that.
All this stuff is being done in California already.
Yeah, these things are already being done. It's already being implemented. You can't just stop. You can't say, I'm going to stop gun violence. Okay, it's like me saying, I'm going to stop everybody from getting a Big Mac tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that going to stop anybody from buying a Big Mac? No. That's not going to stop anybody. A piece of paper is not going to stop somebody. A sign that says gun-free zone is, that's a bullseye. What's what that really is. And I kind of explained all this, very coolly, very comfortably. And I'd say, judging from the fact that they didn't use any of the footage, I'd say I did pretty good.
Well, here's what I recommend coming from the television world. Say, you know what? I really would like to do this interview. I really, really, really do. How about we go down to the station and I do it live? I'm serious.
That would be great.
They'll look at you and start, or they'll start. Well, no. I mean, I'm giving you my time. I'm willing to. Let's be reciprocal here. Let's get together. Put me on air. Yeah. Ask me the hard questions, and I'll tell you the answers. They'll never do that.
Yeah. They won't, but I think I'm going to give it a shot anyways. That sounds like a great idea.
I'd call the news director up or email him and just say, hey, I had a great interview with your people. Thank you very much. But unfortunately, I never got my side out. How about if I come to your station anytime you like and let me have the time to answer the questions on a one-on-one? See what they say.
Right. I would love that.
Yeah.
I think I'll give that a shot.
Yeah. I would too. I mean, in fact, I wouldn't mind. I mean, what you need to do is contact all the TV stations and just, look, when you do it, get on the website, look for planner, or do you have an idea? And that's the way that you can get to because there's only one person that puts the whole week together, and it's not the news director. They talk about it, but there's one person that puts all the interviews together. And I think that'd be something for you to do.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was also really fun to define assault weapon for the reporter. I mean, again, all these people asking all these questions, wanting all these things done, most of them have no idea what they're talking about. And again, one of the first things she says is, so these weapons are all automatic? And, of course, like, well, no, what you're used to hearing is semi-automatic, and had to explain that, had to explain the background checks. I mean, she came from Texas, so she thought that you could just walk in, buy a gun, walk out, and that was it, So I had to explain all that stuff. Assault weapon. I mean, that's what you do with the thing. It's a tool. What you do with it, you can't slap that on it and call it an assault weapon. I mean, I can have an assault hot dog,
right,
by the same,
I got one.
Same specification.
She's 8 months old, and her name is. But it's a hot dog. I mean, it's a dachshund. And trust me, she's hell on wheels, too. But, I just wish the media would just be straight up and do their job and give both sides of the story so the consumer can make a determination or a decision. They should not be influencing people. And I know the peer pressure comes from the news director, most cases.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that was the same thing.
Right.
Jason, was it your sense? Because you talk to this person as a reporter, so I mean that's her profession. She gets paid to do this, and she doesn't understand basic stuff about what she's asking. I mean, was it your perception she really just didn't understand, or she really understood and she was trying to get you? She was trying to get a soundbite of you saying something that more fit in her narrative. What did you think?
She was hoping.
You know what? She was pretty respectful. I don't, if she was, then she covered it very well. She did ask a couple tough questions, and I honestly, just from the look on her face after a couple of them, I honestly believe that she did try to get me to say something that, might compromise our side. And, luckily I was on the debate team for a long time. I was a captain. And being captain of the debate team has its benefits.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
I answered everything completely, fully, and there's absolutely nothing that. Basically, everything I said countered everything just right. I'm no Ben Shapiro. I'm not Ben Shapiro, but I know how to debate. I know how I know the issue in and out. I understand both sides.
Yep.
I come from a very, very progressive family. And, I myself, I'm actually not even conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. I'm right in the middle. I'm moderate. But I understand the issue inside and out completely. And I side on the side of the Second Amendment because I understand it. I understand that the fact that you have a gun does not mean that I'm going to go kill someone. It's all about the responsibility. It's all about your right as an American citizen. It's a lot deeper than what a lot of people throw out there. And another thing, probably the most important thing that I let her know is that you need to understand that, everybody on one side or the other, everybody has this misconception that, again, I can walk into a gun store, buy a gun, walk out, kill somebody, just like that. And it's just not like that at all. And, a lot of the laws that we have in this state in particular are completely arbitrary, or completely obviously designed to nickel and dime you. For one, the ammunition background checks, it's kind of driving us crazy down here with this inconvenience. Things like that, I consider them unconstitutional.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see how we're all in this together. We've got, Jason, who, captain of the team, and Gun Range San Diego, Joe, Dave, San Diego County gun owners. Look at all of us as a community have to be in this together to combat this purposeful ignorance of what they're doing, and this just emotional craziness that's happening. And it's got to be fought here. It's got to be fought now. So good job on you, my friend. I'm sorry I haven't seen that interview yet.
Yeah.
When did it air?
2 days ago, 11 o'clock news.
Should be on
you wouldn't have seen Jason
on their
anyway.
website.
Yeah, they already looked on the website. It's not. All they did was throw in a little. We went to a gun store, a local gun store, and that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I told
it out completely.
I saw something on Channel 10. And it was about concealed carry. Joe, I don't know if you saw this, but it was, Channel 10 does these things. Channel 10 investigates. So Channel 10 investigates why so many more CCWs are now being issued in San Diego County.
I did see that clip. Okay.
So I saw that. It was terrible. So they just tried to paint it as this bad thing, this mysterious, horrible thing. So I sent the guy an email and I said, why would you do that? This investigates thing and trying, you're purposely trying to do this stuff already. Well, I looked the guy up before I sent him the email, by the way, and he was beating his chest on how great he was on trying to take down Rick Perry under the former, governor, or whatever the case may be at the time. But I emailed him. He emailed me back and says, well, whatever. I said, what about fair and balanced reporting? Why are you trying to do this overshadow thing? All of us have to fight tooth and nail at every turn. And
his answer was whatever.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Sam, and you're right. And we do have to stand up, and everybody has to do that now. It's that's the only way to turn this around and win. Because I think most people don't feel this way. Most people don't support these laws and this goofiness. Most people just don't know. I mean, I'm relatively new to the gun thing. I mean, in the last 5 years or so. If you'd have talked to me 6 or 7 years ago, I would have said the same thing. Why do people need military weapons? Because I didn't know. I mean, everything was just based on what I see in the news or TV, and that's how it goes. And people just don't know.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to educate people whenever we can.
Yeah, well, and motivate, too, the ones that do, and get them to take action.
Yeah, and challenge this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
I didn't even know about how local media is also kind of biased in this whole situation.
Right,
I was always taught in college that local media is usually the least biased compared to the national brand, so that kind of shocks me too,
Yeah, it's out there. All right, folks, we're going to take a small break. When we come back, there's a whole lot more right here on Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer. Folks, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170, The Answer. Hey, what's the best defense for self-defense and those horrible new red flag laws? Firearms Legal Protection. Lance and I both use them, along with Michael Schwartz. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners. Get it? Lawful gun owners. With a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for the firearms owner, Firearms Legal Protection is the best legal protection for self-defense. And if you are a singled-out government lawyer trying to take your guns using red flag laws, folks, this is a big deal. You need to be ready. Talk to the good folks at Firearms Legal Protection today at firearmslegal.com, 469-310-9100. That's firearmslegal.com, 469-310-9100. Be ready for the new red flag laws. They're coming your way. All right, right now we got Sam the Gunman on the line. How you doing, Sam?
Good. How are you guys?
Living the dream. What's going on?
Not much. I hear my Uncle Michael's off the he's not in there tonight.
Nah, he's in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Eating Newski burgers or Newski
back
sausages.
the Newskis.
Yeah, from what he's been telling me, he's having the time of his life.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang it. I haven't even heard from him. The guy's been
I
so
know.
busy.
Well, he's just having a good time. So that means Lance Pelkey has a question for you, my friend.
So,
All right, let's have it.
okay, here we go. So this is going to be Jason from San Diego. And Jason, I guess, gets a shirt or something like that. And something.
If we stump Sam, he gets a hat.
He gets a hat. Okay.
He already gets the shirt.
He already gets a shirt. And if he stumps him, he gets the hat to boot. So do you have your San Diego County gun owners glass in front of you loaded with something, my friend?
Yep.
What's in it this time?
Iced tea.
Wonderful. For that balmy evening in Virginia, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, it's getting nice and cool now. It's great.
Okay, good. Well, at Dave's house, it's only 95 in beautiful Alpine. Okay, here we go with a question. So, what is the primary difference between the H&K USP and the H&K P8?
Thanks very much for the question, Jason. That's a really tricky one, actually. That's not an area I know a huge amount about, but I believe the difference between the USP and the P8 is that the P8 is the military designation and the USP is the civilian and export designation.
And I would say, yes, you've got that part right. And congratulations. And to expand on that, let's see, the military version has the safety selection. Let's see, the P8 is the military version, which has the safety and fire selection position reversed. So, yes, the military version. I would give him that one. Joe, would you give him that one?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Of course.
Still-
I would give him that one. That was terrific. Okay, my friend. Well, listen, we appreciate you winning again the Stump My Nephew and from Sam the Gunman in beautiful Virginia. And you're going to keep us posted the next time or when you're what is that? You got not a blog coming out, but
Podcast.
podcast. Good. Okay. So.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted.
All right, buddy. You take care.
You too. Have a good night.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Okay. This is from a listener.
Yep.
Can't keep a guy from killing himself on suicide watch, but you'll protect me if I hand in my guns. Okay. Got it. Just making sure.
It's just a strange world out there. Got it. Okay. Let's see. Do we have another caller?
No, we don't.
Okay. Well, then we'll pick it up with again.
Well, let's talk to Mr. Drammissi. What's your next topic on gun range or gun sports? San Diego County gun owners website.
Well, because there's so much out there. The word thing really fascinates me. So that was I've got because what I do is I keep a running list of possible blog ideas. So there's probably a dozen different ideas there, and then as I'm going, I just pick into them, and sometimes news things will happen which elevates things. But the word thing is really interesting, and how we change words, and especially what San Francisco is doing now. And so I thought I might take a look at that. the other thing is, looking at, and Jason mentioned this a few minutes ago with, they like the Brady campaign, they always talk about safety and, increasing gun safety and things like that. And I was researching the other day and looking up some things, just for an article I was thinking about. And I came across this information, I think it was a CDC study, but they were talking about accidents in the country. And they had listed, the number of accidents in a given year, accidental injuries, basically, injuries from accidents. And, they had broken them down into different causes. And all the way at the bottom of this graphic, the very tiniest one was firearms related, 0.2%. And surprisingly, poisonings, I guess, were the top big one. But, followed by falls and automobile accidents and things like that. But firearms in general are very safe. And, if you go back and look at the history, accidental shootings and things like that with firearms have been, decreasing for a long time, and they're pretty low now. And there's only, you can only go down so far. I mean, you can't make a perfect world. I mean, how safe can you make it? And it's pretty darn safe right now, according to the statistics and things like that. So that was something I want to take a look at too. They talk about that. Then again, in that same research thing, they talked about the gun shows. And there was a study that I think it was the Department of Justice did a little while ago, where they talked to convicted felons that were in prison, and they were asking them about the felons that had guns on them when they committed the crimes that they're imprisoned for, and they were asking them where the guns came from. And again, gun shows was down in less than 0.5% of these felons got. Right. So these gun show loopholes and all this stuff that they talk about trying to shut down gun shows, it's nonsense. I mean, they're lying essentially.
Right.
And they know that.
Well, just like you mentioned, Tucker Carlson article earlier, that article also mentioned that San Francisco now is in the top ratings for criminal activity or crime now in all the major cities. You know?
And that was another thing that you notice if you look at those statistics that, because the Department of Justice, they know all this stuff. I mean, they track all this stuff. But, criminals, career criminals commit most of the crimes, a huge portion of the crimes in this country. So it goes, it makes sense that when you do what we do in California, where they're now releasing criminals early.
Sure.
And, of course, crime is going to go up because these are the people that do it.
Yeah.
And
to our point also too, we talk about because they're not the government's not funding law enforcement. That our article also talked about demonizing, not just demonizing law enforcement, but demonizing just following laws in general. And from there, Dave and I, we've said on the show for a long time that, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out, you're your own first responder. Absolutely. What are you going to do for that first 5 to 15 minutes?
That's right. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show as much as we've enjoyed giving it to you.
And thanks, Joe Drammissi, for showing up.
Oh, Joe Drammissi's the bomb. We want to thank him for showing up. I want to thank Brandon for all his support. And stay tuned for Yak Radio with Dave Stahl. You're going to hear all about Athena Racing, something you might want to get involved in. Right here on FM 96.1, AM 1170, The Answer.
Gun Sports Radio is sponsored by Love Radio Network.